Delaware County's only live television newscast from Ball State University's Unified Media Newsroom. You're watching NewsLink Indiana Midday.
Welcome to NewsLink Indiana Midday. I'm Mira Bloomer. Former President Joe Biden is set to deliver his first public remarks since leaving office. Biden is expected to give a keynote address at the National Conference of Advocates, Counselors, and Representatives for the Disabled in Chicago Tuesday evening. He will be talking about protecting Social Security amid feared cuts to the program. Martin O'Malley, who is the Social Security Administration Commissioner under Biden, is also expected to speak at the event. Biden's world has shrunk drastically since leaving the Oval Office, and he has made only a handful of public appearances. New data from China shows the country's economy grew stronger than expected in the first quarter. Before President Trump's tariffs kicked in, CNN's Christy Liu Stout has more.
China's first quarter GDP data is out, and it reveals growth in the world's second largest economy, just as President Donald Trump dials up the tariff pressure. China's economy grew 5.4% year on year. It defied expectations. Remember, China is facing multiple economic challenges as it struggles to rebound from a post-pandemic slump, including low consumer spending, low consumer confidence, high youth unemployment, and an ongoing property slump. China has set an ambitious growth target of 5% for the year, but economists say that will be hard to reach given the trade war. Trump has jacked up tariffs on many Chinese imports to an astounding 145%, and China has hit back with retaliatory tariffs and other measures, including a curb on rare earth exports, sparking fears of a prolonged trade war. So investment banks are slashing their China growth forecast for the year. UBS has lowered its forecast from 4% to 3.4% for the year. The bank says this, quote, "We expect China's exports to the U.S. to fall by 2/3 in the coming quarters and its overall exports to fall by 10% in USD terms in 2025. The latter also takes into account slower U.S. and global growth." Now, Citi adds this, quote, "We see little scope for a deal between the U.S. and China after recent escalations." Now, all eyes on whether Beijing will roll out any new stimulus. China's Politburo is set to meet later this month to set its policy agenda. Christy Liu Stout, CNN, Hong Kong.
There is a new lawsuit in the legal battle between Trump administration and the state of Maine. Last month, the Department of Education determined Maine's DOE violated Title IX by letting transgender girls take part in female sports teams. The administration has threatened to withhold federal funding from the state for not complying with the order. And on Wednesday, Attorney General Pam Bondi said additional action is being taken.
Today, the Department of Justice is announcing a civil lawsuit against the Maine Department of Education. The state of Maine is discriminating against women by failing to protect women in women's sports. Pretty basic stuff. This is a violation of Title IX. The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports. This is about sports. This is also about these young women's personal safety.
Officials in Maine previously sued the White House in an attempt to prevent the federal government from freezing federal money. Governor Janet Mills has also pushed back on lawsuits, telling President Donald Trump, quote, "See you in court." The video is intense, federal agents smashing a car window while trying to detain the man who was inside. The couple refused to get out of the car. That's when agents moved in. Now that man is being held out of state. As Logan Hall found out, his attorneys say he is not the man that the agents were looking for.
Shocking video showing the moment ICE agents smashed a car window and forcibly removed a man in New Bedford. 29-year-old Juan Francisco Mendez has no criminal record and was awaiting his final documentation to solidify his asylum status. His attorney tells us federal agents took the wrong person, mistaking her client for someone else.
They said they were looking for a certain individual by a different name. And I said, that's not my client. He said, he has prior entries to this country. I said, that's not true. I know my client's history. That is not him. And he said, I'm leaving.
Mendez's wife and 9-year-old son are protected under an asylum status after persecution in their home country of Guatemala. When agents approached Mendez in his car, they were asking for a man by the name of Antonio, someone who used to live in his building. Mendez told them that wasn't him. They demanded he get out of the car. He said he was waiting on his lawyer, and that's when they smashed his window. Community activist Adrian Ventura says he saw it all unfold.
They acted very violently.
Yo estaba al frente.
And I was there when that guy was carrying like an axe or a hammer and started to break the windows, and it was like there was an explosion.
By the time Ondine arrived on scene, Mendez was already under arrest. She says it's a terrible misstep by the agents who carried out these actions. And now it's leaving the Mendez family with difficult questions left unanswered.
He said, Mommy, where are you? And don't forget to bring Daddy home. And she asked me, when will he be coming home? And I don't have any answers for her.
She says she has been able to locate Mendez, who's being held at a facility in Dover, New Hampshire. She hasn't been able to receive any charges or a reason for why he's still at the detention center.
2 U.S. service members are dead. A third is in critical condition after their vehicle crashed while they were patrolling the southern border in New Mexico. This happened near Santa Teresa on Tuesday morning, 13 miles north of El Paso, Texas. A Defense Department task force said the cause of the crash is under investigation. It has not yet released the names of the victims. The Pentagon has deployed thousands of troops to the border in recent months as part of President Trump's efforts to close the border to migrants. A math professor at the University of Houston had his visa terminated and will now have to go back to his home country. This comes as some international students have also had their visas revoked. Jaewon Jung has reaction from campus.
You're here on a legal status, but you're still in fear.
I talk about Islam on campus to people, and even this is becoming scary for me because I'm like, what if someone misassociates this with me supporting something that I'm not supposed to support? Yeah, I myself am also afraid, despite being a permanent resident.
University of Houston senior, who we are calling Ahmad, didn't want his face on camera out of fear. Knowing more than 300 student visas were revoked across the country in recent weeks, some due to pro-Palestinian activism, Ahmad is concerned his religion could impact his path to naturalization.
The tension's really grown, especially in the Muslim community on campus. And international students, they've been told to lay low and not go to any protests or anything.
A U of H spokesperson tells us visas for a small number of international students have been revoked, and now a math professor, because of his status as a doctoral student in another institution. If his visa only permitted him to work in the country, would be a violation. Houston immigration attorney Jared Slater says students who've come to him with revoked visas had minor citations or infractions on their record, such as a traffic ticket and having a fake ID.
Everybody makes mistakes, and you can't say that, necessarily somebody who has an expired license is a criminal danger to society. Traditionally, it was if the government discovered some type of misrepresentation in their application, or if they had been convicted of certain criminal offenses.
There are 146 international professors at U of H, according to the university, and nearly 10% of students are international. Ahmad tells me he believes more visa revocations could impact the university's quality of education.
Because of their visas, they might have to go back home, or they might just leave because of the fear of being persecuted by the government.
Let's take a look at today's NewsLink Indiana weather. These are the conditions right now. It's 46 degrees under mostly sunny skies. Expect plenty of sunshine today with a high getting in the mid to upper 50s. Things will warm up in the 7-day forecast. Highs will hit close to 80 on Friday before cooling back down a bit. And Easter weekend looks like it's going to be rainy. Tribune Showprint is a gem here in Muncie, with it being the oldest operating letterpress shop in the country. Over 100 years old, the shop continues to create ways for the community to be involved in keeping it up and running. NewsLink Indiana's Kamara Munn went to take a deeper look into what this activity brings to Muncie.
At Tribune Showprint, community members can expand their creative palette through this free workshop once every month. At 145 years old, Tribune Showprint is the oldest continuously operating letterpress shop in the country. It's been in Muncie since 2016 with Mad Jacks and has since found their own place on Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard. Open Press Night began in January 2024, providing a space for community members to travel back in time and create their own posters. Letterpress printing was popular for carnivals, fairs, and shows. They were also a way to inform the public.
I love teaching people how to print. It gives me a lot of joy. I want everybody to love print just like I do, and it's really exciting to see people who have never printed before to get to the process, get it on press, and then see the print come off of it. Everybody's always so excited.
Kim Miller is the owner of Tribune Showprint and says it's important to have these open press nights. President of Muncie Arts and a former teacher, Miller enjoys reaching out to many audiences.
Being involved in like the Human Rights Commission and being involved in like some of the other neighborhoods where people can't go to things because of money, I found it super important for us to be able to do something like that.
Participants can pick from a variety of designs, images, carvings, and more. Many make multiple prints and share them with friends and family. Kevin Klinger is a frequent visitor of Tribune Showprint and an associate professor of architecture. Klinger feels this activity is therapeutic, and the sky's the limit when it comes to the designs.
An opportunity to explore your own creativity. You've got a whole range of different options that you can choose from, but what you end up putting on the paper is a product of your own imagination.
Tribune Showprint welcomes all people regardless of experience. Whether this is your first time printing or not, workers are all hands on deck and will assist with the printing process. In Muncie, Tamara Munn, NewsLink, Indiana.
Open press nights are open to children and adults and runs from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tribune Showprint is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that's your NewsLink webcast for today. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to join us tonight at 6:57 on Ball State PBS. And for news, anywhere, anytime, go to ballstatedaily.com.